I'm Professor Chad Young, one of the authors of Physics Figures, which was an effort to provide a lot of resources to new and longtime faculty for creating exams and assessments and other teaching materials. So on this website and in the paper, we have several tips among the expert PowerPoint tips. So if you open PowerPoint, which I think most of us have, if I open PowerPoint, I want you to first recognize that you can use the shapes. So I'm going to go up here to Insert and then Shapes. And in these, we have lots of different shapes that we can use. So for example, let's say that I wanted to make, I don't know, some sort of cylinder. So now I have a cylinder. Notice that I can rotate this object as much as I want. I can give it different dimensions. I can make it flat like a disc. I can make it wider. So there are lots of great 2 and 3-dimensional shapes that you can use. Also, over if I right click, excuse me, if I right click and do format shape, then I get this with I can change the fill of the object in a variety of ways. I can change the color of the solid fill. I can make it more or less transparent so that you can actually begin to see things that are behind. So notice if I put this over here, I can see things that are behind it. I can change the width of the line or the type of the line, or if it's a straight line, I can create an arrow. So for example, if I go over to insert shapes and just do a straight line like this, I can go and make that, well, let's make it a darker color. Let's make it a wider width. So I'll go up to 3 or 4 point. And then I can also change the type of the ending on it. So that makes it into a nice arrow for a vector or whatever you need to use it for. So shapes can be a very useful tool within PowerPoint to create good figures for your assessments. You can also use the drawing and picture tools in PowerPoint. There are other free even software that you can use to edit images like GIMP, for example, and Photoshop. But of course, I think those are probably more than we really need for much of what we do. So for example, I downloaded this image of this car, but notice how it has all this extra stuff around it. I can take that if I right or if I click on it and go over to the picture format, I can do various things to it. So for example, I can crop it and get rid of some of these things. I just crop it down. And then when I copy it into whatever I'm doing, it's just going to have that image. Or notice this image I have of a manifold. Notice that when I put it over the car like that, it blocks out part of that image. So I want to make the background of this transparent. So I go over here to color because making the background will be changing its color. Notice first of all that I can change the coloration of this figure in a lot of different ways, but I'm interested in setting a transparent color, and then I select the color that I want to make transparent. So I click on that, and now notice that when I overlay it another image, I'll be able to see it, see the image in the back. By the way, if I want to bring an image to the front or to the back, say I want the car to be in front of the manifold, if I right click on the car image, I can bring it to front, and then that shows it in front of the manifold. But of course, I'd already made it transparent. So um, finally, I can use the icons tool. Really love the icons tool. So if I go to insert and I go to icons right here, there are lots of clip art that you can use. I find that clip art is really useful for creating things in our exams. So for example, here are some people. I'm not really seeing exactly what I need. Like I could insert a man or maybe insert a double or a man and a woman. I can insert a person in a wheelchair. So I can just insert those and then play around with those in whatever way that I need. So there are thousands of different clip arts there. By the way, if I want to take this image and make it into just the woman, I can always crop out the guy, although there was an image of a woman as well there. So these clip arts make for nice, simple additions that will print really easily um, in in your uh, in your various softwares where you're creating things. And then finally, I said this before, but let's say, for example, I have this image of a hydraulic lift. If I want to create the whole thing or use the entire image, I just right click on it and I can either save as picture, and that will save it as an image on my computer, or I can copy it and then paste it elsewhere as an image. And now that object that I've created with all these different parts is just all a single object that I can resize and use wherever I need to. PowerPoint is very powerful for doing image creation and editing, and very useful for a physics professor or teacher.